Starlight, a romance sleep story, presented by Bedtime Stories. Make yourself comfortable, close your eyes, take a slow, deep breath. And now, let the story begin. The soft glow of the moon, a sliver of pearl in the inky velvet sky, was Ilara's most trusted companion. Every night after the last book had been reshelved and the old wooden door of the Celestia Cove Public Library had been locked for the evening, she would retreat to her small cottage. And every night, after a mug of chamomile tea and a chapter from whatever fantastical world she'd chosen to visit that day, she would carry her telescope onto the porch. Celestia Cove lived up to its name. Nestled far from the city lights, its nights were a breathtaking canvas of stars, a celestial tapestry that had captivated Ilara since she was a little girl. She wasn't a professional astronomer, merely a devoted amateur, but the universe held a quiet magic for her, a vastness that made her own worries feel small and fleeting. Tonight, Jupiter was a magnificent spectacle, its storm bands a painter's dream, its moons tiny pinpricks of light dancing around the giant. Ilara adjusted the focus, a contented sigh escaping her lips. Her life in Celestia Cove was a quiet, comfortable rhythm. Days were spent surrounded by the hushed whispers of turning pages, the gentle scent of old paper and dust, and the occasional chatter of town residents browsing the shelves. Children's Story Hour on Tuesdays, the elderly knitting circle on Thursdays, the weekly book club that often devolved into lively debates about fictional romances. Ilara loved it all. She loved the sense of community, the shared stories, the feeling of being a guardian of knowledge in a small, cozy corner of the world. But there were moments, especially under the vast expanse of the night sky, when a different kind of longing stirred within her. Not a desperate ache, but a quiet whisper, a yearning for a connection as profound and brilliant as the constellations above. She was 32, and while she had known warmth and companionship, the kind of soul-deep connection that poets wrote about, the kind that felt like finding your missing star, had yet to materialize. She wasn't actively searching. She trusted the universe, much like she trusted the turning of the seasons, to unfold its mysteries in due time. The next morning, the gentle rhythm of Celestia Cove was subtly altered. As Ilara unlocked the library doors, the crisp morning air carried a new sound, the distant thrum of machinery and the murmur of voices from the town square. For weeks, the square had been little more than a dusty patch of cracked paving stones and overgrown flower beds, a project long discussed but never begun. Now it seemed, change was finally arriving. From her desk by the tall arched window, Ilara had a clear view of the square. A team of workers was already busy, carefully removing the old, crumbling fountain and cordoning off sections with bright orange netting. Presiding over it all was a man with a shock of dark, slightly unruly hair, his sleeves rolled up to reveal strong forearms, poring over blueprints spread across a makeshift table. He moved with an easy confidence, pointing, explaining, occasionally running a hand through his hair in a gesture of concentration. He was new. Ilara, with her librarian's keen eye for local faces, knew almost everyone in Celestia Cove. This man, however, was a stranger. A handsome stranger, she admitted to herself, a faint blush warming her cheeks. He had a focused intensity about him, a quiet authority that was appealing. Later that afternoon, a shadow fell across her desk. "Excuse me," a deep, resonant voice said. Ilara looked up, her heart giving a little flutter. It was him. Up close, he was even more striking. His eyes, she noticed, were the color of warm honey, crinkling at the corners as he offered a polite smile. A smudge of dirt marked his cheek, a testament to his morning's work. "Can I help you?" she asked, her voice a little softer than usual. "I hope so," he replied, his smile widening slightly. "My name's Liam Thorne. I'm the landscape architect for the Town Square project. I was hoping you might have some local history books, perhaps old photographs of the square. I want to make sure the new design honors the town's past." Ilara felt a thrill of pleasant surprise. "Of course, Mr. Thorne. We have an extensive local history section, just this way." She led him past shelves filled with fiction, biography, and poetry, her mind already buzzing with possibilities. "Are you looking for anything specific? Architectural styles? Types of flora?" "Anything that gives me a sense of the place," Liam explained, following her. "The spirit of Celestia Cove, I've heard it's a town with a rich past, and I want to capture that in the square, not just a pretty park but a heart for the community. His words resonated deeply with Alara. That's a wonderful philosophy, she said, pulling a heavy, leather-bound book from a high shelf. This one has some beautiful old engravings of the square from the early 1900s. And this, she continued, handing him a slim volume of sepia-toned photographs, shows how it evolved over time. You might also find these helpful, she added, selecting a few more books on local flora and fauna, particularly those native to the region. Liam took the books, his fingers brushing hers for a fleeting moment. A spark, tiny but distinct, passed between them. Thank you, miss. Alara Vance, she supplied, a warmth spreading through her chest. Alara, he repeated, the name sounding pleasant on his tongue. It's a beautiful name, like a star, almost. Alara's breath hitched. She hadn't expected him to notice or to comment. It means bright, shining one, she admitted, a shy smile gracing her lips. My mother was an amateur astronomer. Liam's eyes lit up. No kidding? That's incredible. My grandfather was fascinated by the stars. He even built a small observatory in his backyard. That's actually how I got into landscape architecture, believe it or not. He'd tell me about the constellations, about finding beauty in the vastness, and I'd try to capture that sense of wonder in the tiny gardens I'd design as a kid. Alara felt an instant connection, a thread of shared wonder weaving between them. That's truly lovely, she murmured. I have a telescope myself. I spend most clear nights on my porch. Celestia Cove has some of the best dark skies I've ever seen, Liam said, a genuine enthusiasm in his voice. It's one of the reasons I was so keen to take on this project. He paused, looking down at the stack of books. These look perfect. I'll take them all. How long can I keep them? A month, usually, Alara said, taking them to the circulation desk. But for a special project like this, we can be flexible. Just let me know if you need more time. As she scanned the books, their conversation continued, light and easy. He told her a little about his work, his passion for sustainable design, and his excitement about giving the square a new lease on life. Alara found herself charmed by his sincerity and his quiet intensity. He wasn't just building a park, he was crafting a space, a feeling. I should get back to it, Liam said eventually, gathering the books. Thank you again, Alara. This is a huge help. Anytime, Liam, she replied, a genuine smile on her face. And if you need any more local insights, don't hesitate to ask. I've lived here my whole life. He nodded, a thoughtful expression on his face. I'll keep that in mind. It was a pleasure meeting you. As he walked out, the library felt a little less quiet, a little brighter. Alara watched him go, then turned back to her desk, a new flutter in her chest. She found herself glancing out the window more often that afternoon, observing Liam as he moved among the workers, a purposeful figure in the nascent chaos of construction. He had a way of listening intently, of explaining clearly, of bringing order to the evolving landscape. Over the next few days, Liam became a regular fixture in the library. He'd return books, borrow new ones, and occasionally just stop by to chat. Their conversations gradually deepened, moving beyond the square project to more personal topics. He learned about her love for classic literature, her quiet life in Celestia Cove, and her fascination with the cosmos. She learned about his childhood in a nearby town, his adventurous spirit that had led him to work on projects all over the country, and his decision to return to his roots, seeking a project that felt more meaningful, more connected to community. One particularly sunny afternoon, Liam found Alara arranging a display of gardening books. Alara, he began, a slight hesitation in his voice. I was wondering if you might be able to offer a different kind of insight. Oh, she prompted, intrigued. The town council has approved a budget for a central feature in the square. Something iconic, something that truly represents Celestia Cove. We've thrown around ideas, a new fountain, a sculpture, a gazebo, but nothing feels quite right. It needs to be unique, something that ties into the town's character. He ran a hand through his hair. And you, with your love for local history and, well, the stars, you seem to have a pulse on the town's soul. Alara's heart did another little skip. He valued her opinion, her unique perspective. That's a lovely compliment, Liam, she said, feeling a warmth spread through her. What kind of ideas have you considered? I've been thinking about the name, he said, pulling out a small notebook and flipping to a page filled with sketches. Celestia Cove. It immediately evokes the night sky, and you mentioned your mother was an astronomer, and your own love for it. What if the central feature somehow incorporated that, but without being overly literal or cliché? He showed her a rough sketch, a circular design with radiating lines. I was thinking maybe a sundial, but that feels a bit earthbound. Or maybe something that tracks the moon phases. But how to make it beautiful, inviting, a place people want to gather around? Elara looked at the sketch, her mind already racing. What about a celestial clock? She suggested, her voice gaining enthusiasm. Not just a sundial, but something that marks the positions of the stars, the constellations, perhaps even the solstices and equinoxes. Something that encourages people to look up, to connect with the rhythm of the cosmos. Liam's eyes widened, a slow smile spreading across his face. A celestial clock, he repeated, a thoughtful hum escaping him. That's brilliant, Elara. Absolutely brilliant. We could incorporate local stone, perhaps even some embedded light features that mimic the stars at night. Imagine children learning about the constellations right there in the square, families gathering under it during meteor showers. His vision was coming alive, intertwined with hers. And it could be a place for storytelling, Elara added, caught up in the shared excitement. During the day, it's a beautiful educational piece. At night, with subtle lighting, it becomes a beacon, a focal point for stargazing events, or just quiet contemplation. Yes, Liam exclaimed, snapping his notebook shut. That's it. That's exactly it. It's unique, it's meaningful, and it ties perfectly into the town's identity. And it's something I don't think any other town square has. He looked at her, his honey-colored eyes full of genuine admiration. You're a genius, Elara Vance. Elara blushed, pleased by his praise. Just a lover of the stars, Liam Thorne. Well, your love has just given this project its heart, he said, a warmth in his voice that made her heart quicken. I'd love your input as I develop the design further. Perhaps you could help me ensure its astronomical accuracy. I'd be honored, she said, her smile genuine and bright. The thought of working closely with him, of contributing to something so beautiful and meaningful for her beloved town, filled her with a joyful anticipation. Over the next few weeks, their collaboration blossomed. Liam would often come into the library, his blueprints and sketches spread across a large table, Elara leaning over them, pointing out specific star positions, explaining the path of the sun through the zodiac, suggesting subtle ways to incorporate the constellations into the design. He was an attentive listener, absorbing her knowledge with a keen interest that went beyond professional duty. He learned that Elara possessed a quiet strength, a meticulous attention to detail, and a surprising depth of passion beneath her calm exterior. She in turn discovered Liam's artistic sensibility, his dedication, and a playful wit that would occasionally surface, making her laugh aloud in the usually hushed library. One evening, after the library had closed and Elara was about to head home, she found Liam still working in the square, illuminated by the construction lights. He was sketching, seemingly lost in thought. Still at it? She asked, approaching him. He looked up, surprised, then smiled. Just trying to capture the essence of what we talked about today. The way the light will fall on the gnomon, the specific alignment for the equinoxes, it's a tricky balance between art and science. It's going to be magnificent, Liam, she assured him, looking at the half-finished foundations of the square, imagining the celestial clock rising from its center. He put down his pencil. You know, this project wouldn't be half as good without your insights, Elara. You have a way of seeing things, of connecting with the magic of it all. He paused, looking up at the darkening sky, where the first stars were beginning to prick through the twilight. I've worked on a lot of projects, but this one feels different, more personal somehow. Elara felt her cheeks warm. I feel the same way, she admitted softly. It means a lot to me, this town, and to see it revitalized in such a thoughtful way. She trailed off, searching for the right words. It's special. It is, Liam agreed, his gaze still fixed on the emerging stars. You know, with your telescope and my new vantage point, we should really have a proper stargazing session sometime. I'd love to see Jupiter through your lens, and maybe you could point out some of the constellations you're so knowledgeable about. Elara's heart gave a hopeful leap. "I'd like that very much, Liam," she said, her voice a little breathy. The thought of spending an evening with him, under the vast star-studded sky, sharing her quiet passion, filled her with a warmth that had nothing to do with the setting sun. It felt like a wish she hadn't even known she was making, finally beginning to take shape. He turned to her, his honey-colored eyes reflecting the faint starlight. "How about this weekend, if the weather holds?" "This weekend sounds perfect," Alara confirmed, a genuine, joyful smile spreading across her face. The universe, it seemed, was beginning to align its own special constellations, right here in Celestia Cove. The universe, it seemed, was beginning to align its own special constellations, right here in Celestia Cove. The days that followed were a soft haze of anticipation for Alara. Her routine at the Celestia Cove Observatory, usually a meticulous dance of data analysis and telescope calibration, now held an undercurrent of gentle excitement. She found herself glancing at her phone more often than usual, a subtle smile touching her lips whenever a thought of Liam drifted in. There were no further messages or calls, just the quiet understanding of their plan, which somehow felt more profound than any flurry of texts. It was a promise made under the vast, silent sky, solid and shimmering with potential. On Wednesday, she saw him briefly at the local market. He was choosing fresh herbs, his strong hands carefully examining the basil. When he looked up and caught her eye, his smile was a warm, familiar sunbeam. "Alara," he greeted, his voice a low rumble that settled pleasantly in her chest. "Liam," she replied, feeling a blush rise. "Just grabbing some essentials." "Me too. Preparing for the weekend, perhaps?" A mischievous glint danced in his honey eyes. She laughed, a light, genuine sound. "Perhaps. Any hints on what this weather-permitting adventure might entail?" He simply winked. "A little surprise never hurt anyone, did it? Just wear comfortable shoes." "Comfortable shoes, got it," she confirmed, her heart doing a little flutter step. The brief interaction, so simple, deepened her anticipation. It wasn't just the prospect of a new romance, but the feeling of being seen, truly seen, by someone who seemed to understand the quiet joy she found in life's small mysteries. Friday evening arrived, bringing with it a clear, star-dusted sky, a perfect omen. Alara spent a little longer than usual choosing her outfit: sturdy hiking boots, comfortable jeans, and a soft forest green sweater that brought out the flecks of gold in her eyes. She packed a small backpack with water, a light jacket, and a tiny, well-worn field guide to local flora she'd picked up from a second-hand shop. Even though she was an astronomer, her love for the natural world extended to every leaf and stone. The next morning, the air was crisp and cool, carrying the salty scent of the sea mixed with the earthy perfume of damp soil. The sun was a gentle promise in the eastern sky as Alara walked out of her small cottage. Liam's familiar pickup truck was already idling by the curb, a sturdy, dark green vehicle that suited him perfectly. He stepped out, leaning against the truck door, a wide, genuine smile lighting his face. He was dressed similarly to her in a practical plaid shirt and jeans, looking effortlessly rugged and handsome. "Morning, Alara? Ready for an adventure?" "Morning, Liam. As ready as I'll ever be," she replied, a shy smile playing on her lips. "Comfortable shoes are on." "Excellent. We're heading to the Serenity Summit Trail. It's a bit of a climb, but the view is worth it." He opened the passenger door for her, his hand briefly brushing hers as she climbed in. The electric current that passed between them was subtle, but undeniable, leaving a pleasant warmth in its wake. The drive was short, taking them out of the main part of Celestia Cove and onto a winding country road that soon narrowed into a gravel track. Liam pointed out landmarks: an old, gnarled oak tree locals believed was a wishing tree, a hidden waterfall only accessible by a secret path. His voice was calm and melodic as he spoke of the land, clearly deeply connected to it. Alara listened, captivated, feeling the last vestiges of her initial shyness melt away. They parked at a small, secluded trailhead, marked by a weather-beaten wooden sign. The air here was even fresher, carrying the scent of pine and damp earth. As they started up the path, the sounds of the town faded, replaced by the rustle of leaves, the chirping of unseen birds, and the rhythmic crunch of their boots on the gravel. "The trail's not too steep," Liam explained, glancing back at her. "It winds through the old-growth forest for a bit, then opens up to some incredible ocean views." Alara nodded, taking a deep breath of the invigorating air. It's beautiful. I haven't had much time to explore the hiking trails around here yet. There are dozens, he said, each with its own unique charm. This one, though, is special. My grandparents used to bring me here as a boy. They called it their thinking spot. Thinking spot? Yeah. Whenever they had a big decision to make, or just needed to clear their heads, they'd come up here. Said the vastness of the view put things into perspective. He paused, looking at her, a thoughtful expression on his face. I still do it sometimes. Elara felt a gentle tug at her heart. This glimpse into his past, into something so personal, deepened her understanding of him. It wasn't just his skill with wood, but his connection to history, to family, to the quiet wisdom of nature. I understand that. Looking at the stars does something similar for me. Makes you feel small, but in a good way, connected to something much bigger. They fell into a comfortable rhythm, their footsteps synchronized, their conversation flowing easily. They talked about their work, finding surprising parallels between the intricate mechanics of a telescope and the careful artistry of woodworking. Elara spoke of the awe she felt discovering new galaxies, the thrill of deciphering cosmic mysteries. Liam described the satisfaction of shaping raw timber into something functional and beautiful, the way he could see the story of a tree in its grain. It's like you're uncovering what's already there, just waiting to be revealed, Elara mused. Exactly, Liam agreed, his eyes lighting up. Whether it's the pattern in a piece of wood or a celestial phenomenon, it's about observation, patience, and a bit of wonder. As they climbed higher, the forest canopy began to thin, allowing shafts of sunlight to dapple the path. Soon they emerged from the trees onto a rocky outcrop, and Elara gasped. Before them, the world unfurled in a breathtaking panorama. The Pacific Ocean stretched to the horizon, an endless expanse of shimmering sapphire. Below, Celestia Cove lay nestled like a jewel, its colorful houses and fishing boats miniature from this height. The air was clearer, sharper, carrying the distant cry of gulls. Wow, Elara breathed, stepping closer to the edge, her hands resting on the smooth, sun-warmed rock. It's even more stunning than I imagined. Liam stood beside her, his gaze sweeping across the vista with a quiet pride. Told you it was worth the climb. They stood in comfortable silence for several minutes, simply absorbing the beauty. Elara felt a deep sense of peace settle over her, a feeling of being exactly where she was meant to be. This place, this view, this man beside her, it all felt profoundly right. Liam then gestured to a flat, grassy patch shielded from the wind by a cluster of sturdy pines. I packed us a little lunch. He produced a large woven picnic basket from behind a rock, a basket Elara hadn't even noticed he was carrying. He spread a thick tartan blanket on the grass and began to unload an array of delicious-looking items: crusty artisanal bread, local cheeses, ripe figs, olives, and 2 thermoses. Homemade lemonade, he announced, pouring a glass for her. And hot coffee, just in case the sea breeze gets a bit chilly. Elara laughed softly. You thought of everything. Just tried to anticipate what a day of observation and wonder might require, he said, handing her the glass. Their fingers brushed again, and this time, the touch lingered for a fraction of a second longer, a silent acknowledgement of the growing connection between them. They ate, sharing stories and quiet laughter. Liam told her about growing up in Celestia Cove, the son of a fisherman and a schoolteacher, learning the rhythm of the tides and the stories whispered by the wind. He spoke of his love for the town, how it nourished his creativity, and offered a sense of belonging he wouldn't trade for anything. Elara, in turn, found herself opening up more than she usually did. She spoke of her childhood fascination with the night sky, of poring over astronomy books in libraries, of the solitary pursuit of knowledge that had defined much of her life. She admitted to a lingering feeling of being an outsider, even in academic circles, her passion sometimes seen as too romantic, too ethereal. I don't think it's too ethereal, Liam said gently, his honey eyes fixed on hers. I think it's beautiful, to find wonder in something so vast and unknowable, to dedicate your life to understanding it. That's a kind of strength, Elara. His words resonated deeply within her, touching a place she hadn't realized was aching for validation. She felt a lump form in her throat, a quiet gratitude for his understanding. Thank you, Liam. He reached across the blanket, his hand covering hers. His touch was warm and steady, a comforting anchor. No need to thank me for seeing what's true. They spent the better part of the afternoon at Serenity Summit, talking, watching the clouds drift by, and simply enjoying each other's company. Elara felt a sense of ease she hadn't experienced in a long time, a feeling of being completely unburdened and truly herself. With Liam, she didn't have to explain her passions or temper her wonder. He seemed to instinctively understand. As the sun began its slow descent, painting the sky in hues of orange and rose, Liam packed up their picnic. "We should probably head back before it gets too dark. I have a feeling you'll want to be at the observatory for tonight's show." He winked, clearly remembering her passion. The walk back down the trail was more relaxed, filled with comfortable silences and the lingering warmth of their shared afternoon. When they reached his truck, the last rays of sunlight were glinting off its hood. "Thank you, Liam," Elara said, turning to him as he opened her door. This was perfect. More than perfect. He leaned against the truck, his gaze soft as it met hers. "I had a wonderful time, Elara. Truly." His eyes drifted to her lips, and for a moment, she thought he might lean in, might kiss her. Her breath caught, a hopeful flutter in her chest. But he simply smiled, a gentle, lingering smile. "How about we do this again soon? Maybe next time I can show you my workshop. Or perhaps you could show me the rings of Saturn through your telescope." "I'd like that very much," Elara replied, her voice a little breathless. The anticipation of their next meeting was already taking root, a sweet promise in the twilight air. He drove her back to her cottage, the silence between them now charged with unspoken feelings. As she stepped out of the truck, she turned to him. "Good night, Liam." "Good night, Elara," he said, his voice a warm caress. He waited until she was safely inside her door, then gave a short wave before driving off. Elara leaned against the closed door, a hand pressed to her heart, which was still doing a joyful little dance. She felt lighter, happier, more alive than she had in years. The day with Liam had been a revelation, a gentle unfolding of possibilities she hadn't dared to dream of. He was everything she had sensed he might be, kind, thoughtful, deeply connected to the world around him, and possessing a quiet strength that felt profoundly comforting. That night, as she looked through the observatory telescope, the familiar constellations seemed to shine with a renewed brilliance. She saw the distant galaxies, the nebulae swirling with cosmic dust, and for the first time, she truly felt like she was a part of it, not just an observer. Celestia Cove, with its rolling hills, vast ocean, and now Liam, was slowly, beautifully becoming her home. The week that followed was filled with a delightful hum of anticipation. Liam sent her a text on Tuesday, a simple photo of a half-finished wooden bowl in his workshop, asking, "Still curious about the creative process?" Elara replied immediately, "Absolutely. When can I see it in person?" They settled on Friday evening. Elara finished her work at the observatory, her mind buzzing with excitement, and made her way to the old boathouse district where Liam had his workshop. The air here was rich with the scent of sawdust and the distant tang of the ocean. Liam greeted her at the door, his sleeves rolled up, revealing strong, capable forearms. A smudge of sawdust was on his cheek, and his hair was slightly disheveled, making him look even more charming. "Welcome to my sanctuary," he said, gesturing around the cavernous space. The workshop was a symphony of wood and tools. Sunlight streamed through tall windows, illuminating dust motes dancing in the air. Shelves groaned under the weight of lumber, oak, maple, walnut, cherry, each piece telling a silent story. Workbench after workbench held various projects in different stages of completion: an intricately carved cabinet door, a delicate wooden bird sculpture, and the half-finished bowl from his text. "It's incredible, Liam," Elara said, her eyes wide with admiration. She ran her hand over a smooth plank of polished cherry wood, feeling its warmth and grain. "It smells amazing in here." "That's the scent of hard work and passion," he chuckled. "Each wood has its own character, its own way of responding to the hand. It's about listening to it, coaxing out its hidden beauty." He led her to a workbench where a large, powerful lathe hummed softly. "This is where the magic happens for bowls and turned pieces." He picked up the partially finished bowl. "This one's maple. See how the grain swirls? It's like a tiny galaxy, isn't it?" Elara leaned closer, captivated. "It is. It's beautiful. What do you see when you look at a piece of raw wood, Liam?" He paused, considering her question, his gaze thoughtful. I see possibility. I see the tree it came from, the years it stood, the storms it weathered, and I see the form that wants to emerge. My job is just to help it along, to remove what isn't needed, to reveal what's already there. He demonstrated the lathe for her, carefully mounting a block of wood, and with skilled hands, using chisels to shape it as it spun. Wood shavings curled away in elegant spirals, falling to the floor like golden confetti. Elara watched, mesmerized by the precision and artistry of his movements. His hands, strong and calloused, moved with a delicate grace that spoke of years of practice and deep connection to his craft. It's like sculpting light from shadow, she murmured, watching the wood transform. Liam smiled, a genuine, delighted smile. Exactly. I knew you'd get it. They talked for hours, the hum of the workshop a soothing backdrop to their conversation. He showed her his tools, explaining the purpose of each one, from the broad-bladed chisels to the finely pointed carving knives. He spoke of the challenges and triumphs of his work, of the satisfaction of creating something lasting and beautiful with his own hands. Elara felt a profound sense of connection, seeing another facet of his soulful nature. His passion for his craft was as deep and abiding as her own for the stars. They were two individuals rooted in different worlds, yet finding common ground in their shared pursuit of beauty and understanding. As the evening deepened, the light in the workshop mellowed to a warm glow. Liam offered her a small, exquisitely carved wooden bird, no bigger than her thumb. A little thank you for your curiosity. Liam, it's exquisite, she breathed, cradling the delicate sculpture in her palm. The wood was smooth and cool, perfectly balanced. I can't accept it. It's too much. Nonsense, he insisted gently. It's just a small token, something to remind you of the stories wood can tell. She held the bird, feeling its smooth contours, a blush spreading across her cheeks. Thank you. I'll cherish it. He walked her out, the scent of sawdust clinging faintly to her clothes. Outside, the night air was cool and clear, the stars already beginning to pepper the sky. So, Liam said, leaning against the door frame, you've seen my world. Now, how about showing me yours? The rings of Saturn, perhaps? Elara's heart leaped. I'd love to. How about tomorrow night? It's a perfect night for observing. Clear skies predicted. Perfect, he agreed, his eyes crinkling at the corners. I'll be there. This time as she walked towards her car, he didn't wait by the door. He followed her, his steps light. When she reached her car, he stopped, and she turned to face him. The streetlight cast long shadows, but his eyes were bright, reflecting the distant stars. Elara, he murmured, stepping closer. She looked up at him, her breath catching in her throat. The air between them crackled with an unspoken energy. He reached out, his hand gently cupping her cheek, his thumb brushing softly against her skin. His touch sent a shiver down her spine, a delicious warmth spreading through her veins. Good night, he whispered, his voice low and husky. And then he leaned down slowly, giving her time to respond. Her eyes fluttered closed as his lips met hers. The kiss was soft, tentative at first, then deepened, a tender exploration. It was everything she had imagined and more, sweet, gentle, and filled with a warmth that promised connection and understanding. It tasted of stardust and sawdust, of the ocean breeze and newly blossoming hope. When he finally pulled back, Elara felt a little breathless, her cheeks flushed. She met his gaze, and saw reflected there the same wonder, the same tender affection that filled her own heart. Good night, Liam, she managed, her voice a whisper. Good night, Elara, he replied, a soft smile gracing his lips. He watched her get into her car, a silent guardian under the vast, watchful sky. As she drove home, Elara felt as if she were floating. The kiss, so gentle yet so profound, had sealed something between them, a silent promise of deeper connection. She clutched the tiny wooden bird in her hand, feeling its smooth, comforting presence. The next evening, Liam arrived at the observatory, carrying a thermos of hot cocoa and a blanket. Elara met him at the entrance, a quiet excitement humming between them. She led him to the main dome, where the massive telescope pointed its eye towards the heavens. Tonight, we're going to look at Saturn, she announced, her voice filled with professional enthusiasm. though her heart did a little flip-flop every time she caught his eye. She guided him through the steps, explaining the mechanics of the telescope, the principles of light and optics. Liam listened intently, asking intelligent questions, his curiosity boundless. Finally, she adjusted the focus and then stepped back, gesturing to the eyepiece. There it is, Saturn. Liam leaned in, pressing his eye to the lens. A gasp escaped him. Oh, Elara, it's magnificent. He stayed there for a long time, utterly absorbed. Elara watched him, a profound sense of happiness blooming in her chest. To share her greatest passion with someone who appreciated it so deeply, who saw the beauty and wonder she did, it was a gift beyond measure. When he finally pulled away, his eyes were shining with awe. It's even more incredible than any photograph. To see it with your own eyes, to know that light has traveled for so long to reach us. It's humbling. It is, she agreed softly, her gaze meeting his. It puts everything into perspective, doesn't it? They spent hours that night under the dome, moving from Saturn to Jupiter, then to a swirling nebula, and finally to a distant galaxy, its millions of stars a faint, shimmering smudge. Elara shared stories of the constellations, the myths and legends woven into the fabric of human history. Liam listened, sometimes interjecting with a thought about the sheer scale of it all, or a comparison to the intricate patterns he found in nature. As the night wore on, they moved outside, wrapping themselves in the blanket Liam had brought, sipping hot cocoa under the cold, brilliant expanse of the Celestia Cove sky. The observatory, usually a place of solitary contemplation for Elara, now felt warm and inviting, filled with the gentle presence of Liam beside her. Thank you for sharing this with me, Elara, he said, his voice quiet. He reached out, his hand finding hers under the blanket, their fingers intertwining naturally. It's truly breathtaking. Thank you for seeing it with me, she replied, leaning her head on his shoulder. His warmth was a comforting anchor against the vastness of the cosmos. They sat in silence for a long time, simply gazing up at the stars, their hands clasped, their hearts beating in a gentle, harmonious rhythm. The universe, vast and ancient, felt a little less lonely, a little more welcoming, with Liam by her side. Celestia Cove, with its unique blend of earthly charm and cosmic wonder, was not just a new chapter in her life, but a whole new story, unfolding with breathtaking beauty under the watchful eyes of the stars. And Elara, for the first time in a very long time, felt like she truly belonged. The coming days stretched before them like a promising sky, endless and full of light. The coming days stretched before them like a promising sky, endless and full of light. Elara awoke to the gentle caress of dawn, not the harsh intrusion of an alarm, but the soft pearlescent glow filtering through the window of Liam's cottage. The scent of sea salt and something earthy, like damp moss and pine, filled the air, mingling with the subtle aroma of brewing coffee. She stretched, a languid arch that felt utterly luxurious, her muscles humming with a contented warmth she hadn't realized she'd been missing. Beside her, the pillow still bore the faint impression of Liam's head, and a smile, easy and unbidden, bloomed on her lips. This wasn't just waking up, it was waking up something to someone. The loneliness that had been a constant, quiet companion for so long had receded, replaced by a sense of anticipation, a soft hum of joy. She found Liam on the small porch overlooking the cove, a steaming mug in his hands, his gaze lost in the shifting hues of the sunrise painting the water. He wore a worn chambray shirt, sleeves rolled up to reveal strong forearms, and his hair, still damp from a shower, curled softly at his nape. "Morning, sleepyhead," he murmured without turning, as if he'd felt her presence. Elara walked over, wrapping her arms around his waist from behind, resting her chin on his shoulder. His warmth seeped into her, a comforting anchor. "Good morning," she whispered, her voice still thick with sleep. The world outside was hushed, save for the distant cry of a gull and the rhythmic lapping of waves against the shore. The air was crisp, carrying the promise of a bright, clear day. He turned slightly, pressing a soft kiss to her temple. "Coffee's ready. I made your kind, extra strong." She chuckled, a genuine, melodious sound. "You remember?" "Of course." His eyes, the color of a stormy sea, held a warmth that chased away any lingering chill. Every detail. They sipped their coffee in comfortable silence, watching the sun climb higher, turning the sky into a canvas of gold and rose. Elara felt a profound sense of peace settle over her, a feeling so deep it bordered on sacred. It wasn't just Liam's presence, though that was a significant part of it. It was the entire atmosphere of Celestia Cove, a place that seemed to breathe with an ancient wisdom, a welcoming embrace. After a simple breakfast of fresh berries and warm crusty bread, Liam suggested, "How about we really explore today? I know a place, a hidden gem, that I think you'd appreciate." Elara's eyes lit up. "Lead the way." They set off on foot, following a winding path that hugged the coastline, rising and falling with the terrain. Liam pointed out different rock formations, explaining their geological history, some dating back millions of years, others showing strange, luminescent minerals that glowed faintly even in daylight. He spoke of the local flora, resilient plants clinging to the cliffs, their roots delving deep into the earth. Elara listened, captivated, her camera slung over her shoulder ready to capture the magic. He led her deeper inland, through a grove of ancient gnarled trees, their branches reaching skyward like supplicating arms. The air here was cooler, imbued with the rich scent of damp earth and decaying leaves. Sunlight dabbled through the canopy, creating shifting patterns on the forest floor. "We're almost there," Liam said, his voice hushed, as if entering a sacred space. They emerged into a clearing, and Elara gasped. Before them lay a small emerald green lake, its surface perfectly still, reflecting the surrounding trees and the patch of brilliant blue sky above. What made it breathtaking, however, were the stones scattered along its banks and beneath the water's surface. They weren't ordinary stones. They pulsed with a faint ethereal glow, a soft, otherworldly light that seemed to emanate from within. "The Starlight Pool," Liam explained, his voice low. "Local legend says these stones fell from a meteor shower thousands of years ago, imbued with cosmic energy. They only truly glow at night, but even in the day, you can see their light." Elara walked to the edge of the pool, kneeling, her fingers trailing in the cool, clear water. The stones beneath her touch felt smooth, almost warm. She lifted her camera, snapping several shots, but knew that no photograph could truly capture the serene beauty, the profound sense of wonder she felt. This place felt ancient, powerful, a tangible link between the earth and the heavens. "It's incredible, Liam," she breathed, turning to him, her eyes wide with awe. "It's like something out of a dream." He smiled, a gentle, knowing smile. "Celestia Cove has many dreams hidden within it. You just have to know where to look." They spent hours by the Starlight Pool, talking, sharing stories. Elara spoke of her nomadic life, her pursuit of the perfect celestial shot, the quiet yearning for a place to call home that she hadn't even fully acknowledged until now. Liam, in turn, shared snippets of his life, growing up in the cove, his deep connection to its history and its mysteries, his own quiet passion for preserving its natural beauty. He revealed that his family had lived in Celestia Cove for generations, acting as informal guardians of its unique environment. "My grandfather always said the cove chose us, not the other way around," he mused, skipping a flat stone across the pool's surface. He believed the celestial energy here needed a steady hand, someone to ensure it wasn't disturbed. Elara felt a pang of understanding. His commitment to the cove wasn't just environmental, it was ancestral, spiritual. It resonated with her own artistic reverence for the cosmos. "And you feel that same connection?" He met her gaze, his eyes earnest. "More than anything, it's in my bones, Elara. It's home." Later that afternoon, they ventured into the heart of the cove's small, vibrant community. Liam seemed to know everyone, greeting them with an easy smile and a familiar nod. Elara watched as he chatted with a wizened old fisherman mending nets, discussed the day's catch with a bustling fishmonger, and shared a laugh with a baker whose shop filled the air with the intoxicating scent of warm bread and cinnamon. Each interaction painted a clearer picture of Liam, a man deeply woven into the fabric of his community, respected and cherished. At the general store, a charmingly cluttered space, filled with everything from fishing tackle to handmade pottery, Liam introduced Elara to Mrs. Gable, a spry woman with a twinkle in her eye and a laugh like wind chimes. "Elara's an astronomer and photographer," Liam explained. Oh, a stargazer, Mrs. Gable exclaimed, her smile widening. We get a few of those, but you have a special light about you, dear. Liam, you picked a good one. She winked conspiratorially at Alara, who felt a blush creep up her neck. The easy acceptance, the warmth of the community, was a stark contrast to the polite distance she'd often encountered in larger cities. Here, people seemed genuinely interested, not just in her, but in her horror with Liam. It was a subtle, unspoken acknowledgement of their budding connection, and it made Alara's heart swell. They picked up a few groceries for dinner, Liam insisting he would cook tonight. As they walked back to his cottage, laden with bags, the sun began its descent, painting the sky in fiery oranges and purples. The air grew cooler, carrying the promise of the evening's celestial show. Liam prepared a simple but delicious meal of freshly caught fish, roasted vegetables, and a crisp salad. They ate on the porch again, the sounds of the cove their soundtrack. The conversation flowed easily, punctuated by comfortable silences, each moment deepening the unspoken understanding between them. As darkness fully enveloped the cove, the stars began to emerge, first a scattering, then a dazzling explosion of light. Liam had set up his telescope on a small, elevated platform behind his cottage, a powerful instrument he had clearly spent many hours with. Tonight, I want to show you something I've only ever shared with a handful of people, he said, his voice hushed with reverence. It's one of the reasons my ancestors settled here. He adjusted the telescope, guiding Alara to the eyepiece. She peered in, and her breath hitched. There, shimmering with an ethereal glow, was a nebula she recognized, but it was unlike any image she had ever seen through other telescopes or in textbooks. It pulsed with a vibrant, almost liquid light, its colors more vivid, its swirling patterns more intricate, as if she were looking at it directly, unhindered by atmospheric interference. The Celestia Nebula, Liam whispered, his hand gently resting on her shoulder. It's always brighter here, more defined. My grandfather called it the heart of the cove, believing it infused the entire area with its unique energy. Alara pulled back from the eyepiece, her mind reeling. It's phenomenal. The clarity, the intensity. It's like it's right there. I've never seen anything like it. Her astronomer's mind, always seeking scientific explanation, struggled to reconcile the visual evidence with known phenomena. Yet, her soul, stirred by the inexplicable beauty, simply accepted it. She understood then on a deeper level why Liam and his family felt such a profound connection to this place. It wasn't just a home, it was a sanctuary, a living observatory, a place where the veil between worlds seemed thinner, where the cosmic heartbeat was more palpable. As the hours passed, they took turns at the telescope, marveling at distant galaxies, shimmering star clusters, and the familiar, comforting glow of the moon. Liam shared stories passed down through generations about certain constellations, ancient myths intertwined with local lore. Alara, in turn, explained the scientific wonders of what they were seeing, the immense distances, the incredible forces at play, bridging the gap between myth and science, each perspective enriching the other. A gentle breeze rustled through the trees, carrying the scent of night-blooming jasmine. Liam reached for Alara's hand, his fingers intertwining with hers, a silent promise in the darkness. She leaned her head on his shoulder, feeling utterly at peace, utterly connected. The vastness of the universe, once a source of beautiful but sometimes overwhelming solitude, now felt like a shared wonder, a grand stage for their unfolding story. I've never felt like this before, Alara confessed softly, her voice barely a whisper. So anchored, yet so free, like I've found the missing piece of myself. Liam tightened his grip on her hand. You were never missing a piece, Alara. You were just waiting to find the right place to put down roots, a place where all your pieces could truly shine. He paused, then added, and I think you found it here. With us. Us, she repeated, the word a warm comfort on her tongue. It wasn't a concept she'd allowed herself to truly entertain for a very long time. Her life had been defined by Amy, by solitary pursuits. But yous felt right, felt natural, felt like home. As the night deepened, a subtle chill crept into the air, and Liam suggested they head inside. They curled up on the sofa in his cozy living room, a fire crackling softly in the hearth, casting dancing shadows on the walls. Liam read aloud from an old leather-bound book, a collection of local folk tales, many featuring the very celestial phenomena they had just observed. His voice was a soothing balm, rich and melodic, lulling Alara into a state of blissful relaxation. She listened, half dreaming, to stories of cosmic dust falling from the sky to create the shimmering sands of the cove, of ancient spirits who guided lost stars, of the moon's tears forming the crystalline pools. Each tale wove another thread into the rich tapestry of Celestia Cove, making it feel not just like a physical place, but a living, breathing entity, a character in its own right. When Liam finally closed the book, the fire had dwindled to glowing embers. He looked at Alara, his expression tender. "Tired?" She nodded, a soft sigh escaping her. "Content." He led her to the bedroom, the moonlight streaming through the window, illuminating the room with a soft, silver glow. As they lay together, the quiet intimacy of their presence filled the space. Alara felt Liam's steady heartbeat against her back, his arm wrapped securely around her, and she knew, with a certainty that settled deep in her soul, that this was where she was meant to be. The following weeks unfolded with a rhythm that felt both natural and exhilarating. Alara found herself falling deeper in love not just with Liam, but with Celestia Cove itself. She spent her days exploring, her camera a constant companion, capturing the ethereal beauty of the Starlight pool, the dramatic cliffs, the bustling harbor, and the quiet dignity of the ancient forests. She started sketching ideas for a new series of astronomical photographs, inspired by the unique clarity of the night sky here, planning to combine traditional photography with the almost mystical glow of the cove's celestial elements. Liam helped her find a small, sunlit studio space overlooking the main street, a place that felt perfectly suited for her creative endeavors. They discovered shared passions beyond the stars. Long walks on the beach, collecting smooth, sea-worn stones. Cooking together, experimenting with local ingredients. Evenings spent listening to old records, or simply sitting on the porch, watching the changing tides, talking for hours about everything and nothing. Alara learned about Liam's quiet dedication to the cove's conservation efforts, his work with local fishermen to ensure sustainable practices, his dream of establishing a marine sanctuary. She saw his leadership, his compassion, and his unwavering commitment to the place he called home. One afternoon, while helping him clear debris from a remote stretch of beach after a minor storm, Alara found herself reflecting on her past. "I used to think that being free meant having no ties, no roots," she confessed, brushing sand from her hands. "Just moving from one place to the next, chasing the next perfect shot." Liam paused, leaning on a piece of driftwood. "And now?" She looked out at the vast expanse of the ocean, then back at him, her heart full. "Now I think true freedom is finding a place where you can be completely yourself, where you feel safe enough to truly belong. And that includes letting others belong to you." She reached out, taking his hand. "You've shown me that, Liam. You and Celestia Cove." He squeezed her hand, his gaze soft and deep. "You always belonged, Alara. You just needed to find your way here." They started a small project together, documenting the cove's unique nocturnal flora, plants that drew their luminescence from the same cosmic energy as the Starlight pool. Alara's photographic expertise combined with Liam's intimate knowledge of the cove's ecosystem, creating a beautiful synergy. It was more than just a project. It was a shared journey of discovery, a testament to their growing partnership. As the weeks turned into months, Alara began to feel a familiar ache, the pull of her own art, the desire to set up her darkroom, to develop her recent shots, to translate her experiences into tangible creations. She started transforming her new studio, painting the walls a calming sky blue, arranging her equipment, her heart buzzing with creative energy. Liam spent evenings helping her, moving heavy boxes, offering quiet encouragement, and even posing for a few impromptu portraits as she tested her lighting. One evening, as they were installing a large easel, Liam stepped back, admiring the space. "This feels right, Alara, like it was always waiting for you?" She looked around, a lump forming in her throat. "It does," she agreed, her voice thick with emotion. "It really does." She walked over to him, wrapping her arms around his waist. "Thank you, Liam, for everything." He held her close, his chin resting on her head. "You don't have to thank me, Alara. This is just us." The nights continued to be their special time. Under the vast, clear canopy of the Celestia Cove sky, they would often sit for hours, sometimes by the telescope, sometimes simply wrapped in a blanket on the porch, tracing constellations, sharing dreams, and listening to the rhythmic lullaby of the waves. Alara felt her spirit expand with each passing day, her heart overflowing with gratitude for this unexpected, profound love that had found her. The universe, once a distant, beautiful spectacle, now felt like an intimate, personal stage, holding the promise of endless wonders, all to be explored, all to be cherished, with Liam by her side. Celestia Cove, with its unique blend of earthly charm and cosmic wonder, had become more than just a home. It was the vibrant, beating heart of her new life, a constantly unfolding narrative of love, discovery, and belonging. The coming days stretched before them, not just like a promising sky, but like an entire galaxy, infinite and luminous, waiting to be explored together. Their exploration began, not with grand adventures, but with the quiet magic of mornings. Celestia would often wake before Liam, her gaze drawn to the eastern window where the first blush of dawn painted the sky in hues of rose and lavender, reflecting off the gentle swells of the cove. She'd watch the stars slowly fade, replaced by the sun's embrace, a daily reminder of the celestial dance that gave their home its name. Liam would find her there, a quiet smile on his face, wrapping his arms around her from behind, his chin resting on her shoulder. These were moments steeped in peace, a silent promise of a day unfolding, each one a precious gift. They discovered the rhythm of Celestia Cove together. Long walks along the crescent beach, collecting shells that seemed to hum with ancient stories, their colors shifting under the sunlight. They learned the names of the unique, bioluminescent flora that bloomed only at dusk, turning their garden into a twinkling wonderland. Liam, ever the thoughtful observer, began sketching them, capturing their fleeting beauty, while Celestia found herself writing snippets of poetry, inspired by the profound quiet and the vibrant life around them. Her words, once a hidden sanctuary, now flowed freely, shared without hesitation, becoming another thread in the tapestry of their intimacy. One crisp afternoon, while exploring a newly discovered path winding up a gentle slope, they stumbled upon an ancient, gnarled oak tree, its branches reaching skyward like cosmic antennae. Beneath its expansive canopy, they found a small, smooth stone etched with symbols they didn't understand but felt deeply. It became their secret spot, a place for quiet conversations, for planning their dreams, for simply holding hands and feeling the pulse of the earth beneath them, the vastness of the sky above. Here, Celestia confided in Liam about her lingering wonder, a gentle fear that such perfect happiness might be fleeting. Liam listened, his gaze soft and unwavering. "Celestia," he said, gently tracing the line of her jaw, "happiness isn't a destination we arrive at and then fear losing. It's a journey, a choice we make every day, in every shared smile, every quiet comfort, every challenge we face together. This place, our love, it's not fragile. It's built on something far more enduring than chance. It's built on something far more enduring than chance." He paused, looking up at the ancient oak. "Look at this tree. It has weathered countless storms, seen endless sunrises. It stands firm because its roots run deep. Our roots, my love, are growing just as deep here." His words were a balm to her soul, anchoring the nebulous anxieties that sometimes drifted in from her past. She realized he wasn't just offering reassurance, he was offering a profound truth about the nature of love itself. It wasn't about avoiding the storms, but about having a steadfast hand to hold when they came. As the weeks turned into months, Celestia Cove truly became an extension of them. They started a small project together, a community library, housed in a charming, unused building near the main square. Liam designed custom shelves, his carpenter's hands crafting beauty from wood, while Celestia curated the collection, filling it with stories of adventure, science, and of course, romance. It quickly became a beloved hub, a place where the residents of Celestia Cove, a charming mix of artists, astronomers, and quiet dreamers, gathered to share knowledge and laughter. Seeing their shared vision come to life, witnessing the joy it brought to others, cemented a profound sense of belonging within Celestia. She wasn't just living in Celestia Cove. She was intricately woven into its fabric, a vital thread in its vibrant tapestry. Evenings were often spent on their porch swing, a gift from Liam, made from reclaimed driftwood, its gentle sway mirroring the ebb and flow of the tide. Under a sky impossibly studded with stars, they would talk for hours, sharing dreams and memories, sometimes just sitting in comfortable silence, their fingers intertwined. Liam would point out constellations, telling her ancient myths, while Celestia would confess her own whimsical interpretations, seeing lovers dancing in the Pleiades, or a lone traveler embarking on a cosmic journey in Orion. It was in these moments that the cosmic wonder of their home truly converged with the earthly charm of their life, creating a unique harmony that resonated deep within her. One particularly clear night, as a meteor shower painted fiery streaks across the velvet canvas above, Liam turned to her, a serious yet tender expression on his face. "Celestia," he began, "you've brought more light into my life than all these stars combined. When I first saw you, I felt a pull, like gravity, drawing me home. And now, seeing you here, thriving, shining, it's everything I never knew I was missing." He reached into his pocket, pulling out a small, intricately carved wooden box. Inside, nestled on a bed of velvet, was a ring. Not a traditional diamond, but a smooth, polished piece of petrified wood, swirling with ancient patterns, its surface embedded with tiny fragments of what looked like crushed stardust, glittering faintly. "It's from the old oak tree," he explained, his voice a little husky. "I found a fallen branch, years ago, and kept it. I carved it myself, thinking of you, of us. The stardust is from a meteorite I found nearby. I had it ground and inlaid. It's a piece of this earth, a piece of this earth, a piece of the cosmos, and a piece of our secret place. It's not just a promise, Celestia. It's a symbol of everything we found here." Celestia's eyes welled with tears, not of sadness but of overwhelming joy and profound gratitude. The ring was perfect, a testament to their unique love, their shared history in this magical place. It encapsulated the very essence of Celestia Cove, earthly roots, cosmic wonder, and a love that felt as timeless as the stars themselves. "Yes, Liam," she whispered, her voice thick with emotion, "1,000 times yes." He gently slid the ring onto her finger, its cool, smooth surface a comforting weight. They embraced under the shower of falling stars, a silent, sacred vow exchanged between two souls who had found their true north in each other, and their forever home in a cove named for the heavens. Their life together continued to unfold, a beautiful symphony of shared dreams and quiet joys. The library flourished, their garden bloomed with new colors each season, and the old oak tree stood witness to their enduring love. Celestia, once a wanderer, had found her anchor. Liam, once a quiet craftsman, had found his muse. They built a life not just in Celestia Cove, but with Celestia Cove, its magic interweaving with their own. And as the years gently turned, marked by countless shared sunrises and starlit nights, Celestia would often find herself reflecting on that first feeling of cosmic wonder, now grounded in the deeply personal, profoundly human love she shared with Liam. She knew, with a certainty that settled deep in her bones, that their story was an ongoing masterpiece. Each day a new brushstroke, painted with the vibrant colors of affection, discovery, and belonging. Her heart, once a guarded sanctuary, now beat in perfect rhythm with his, a melody of enduring love, forever echoing through the gentle breezes of Celestia Cove, under the watchful, loving gaze of 1,000,000 stars. And as she drifted off to sleep each night, nestled securely in Liam's arms, the gentle murmur of the waves outside their window was a lullaby, assuring her that this beautiful, star-kissed dream was wonderfully, eternally real.